Lisa, you can start us off. Lisa B.
Yeah, I need to stop annotating because I just got excited. Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Let Them Theory little mini book discussion for educators. I'm Lisa Berghoff. I'm the Director of Instructional Technology at Highland Park High School, and I'll let my co-facilitators introduce themselves. Do you want to go ahead, Lisa?
Sure. I'm Lisa Allen. I am a social studies teacher and an instructional coach at Deerfield High School, which is in the same district as Highland Park. Lisa and I work together. And we all fell in love with this book. So we're really excited to share it with you guys and hopefully have it empower all of us.
Yeah, and hi everyone, I'm Stephanie Howell. I have a new title, so it's like hard to get used to, but I'm now at School AI, and my title is Community Coach, and I am so excited to read Let Them. I hope we can do like a group photo with our books at the end, so maybe grab them in a good, yeah, I know, I'm like, I got my book, so maybe we can do a really great group photo at the end, and I would love to know in the chat who's joining us, so if you could just let us know who you are, where you're from, what you do in your district or in your organization. I'm also in Ohio, so yeah, excited.
And Lisa and I are just outside of Chicago. So we're about 20 miles north of the city. And hopefully where you all are, it's actually spring, because here it's like 40 degrees and pouring rain. So it's not so fun.
And we teach high school, so that's a blessing and a curse because they can actually pay attention more so than when it truly is spring. But the weather is something we have to let it, right? Let it be cold and gross.
Yeah. Also,
Okay.
add an emoji for how your day went. Like, I want to see emojis of how your day was today. Awesome. Okay.
We've got New Jersey, we've got New York, we've got Virginia, Michigan, Texas, Connecticut.
Oh, 88 degrees. Did you see that?
Canada.
Awesome. And I just put a poll out there too. Just curious, how many of you have read the book? It's okay if you didn't. We're not going to judge you or kick you out if you didn't read it. But yeah, we have some that are like, yes, no, maybe means like half yes, half no. So again, take a moment and just kind of reflect. And then Lisa's going to give us a great overview of kind of, if you didn't read, what is understanding the Let Them theory?
Yeah, so to vote, you should see my elementary friends call it the waffle in the lower right-hand corner, those 9 dots where you have meeting tools, and you should see a poll there. Page 195. Perfect. That's great. I feel like when I first heard about this book, I saw some of Mel's video clips on Instagram and on YouTube, and I thought, okay, I get it. I don't understand why I have to read this whole book to learn more. And then I read the book and I started to realize, oh, there's so much more to it. And she gives so many great examples. And Ashley listened on Audible. I'm curious, I'm assuming that Mel reads it. So she's pretty engaging. That was probably not so bad to listen to. It's a pretty good way to go. So, okay, regardless of how long ago you read it or how far you got into the book, the kind of the crux of the Let Them theory is all about managing our own energy in what we cannot control. And so it's about us and our need for control. And it's basically telling us to stop trying to get people to do what we want them to do. There's so much time and energy that's ours that we really waste trying to force other people to meet our expectations. And so if the people in our lives aren't showing up for us how we need them to, instead of trying to force them to change, this theory is saying, let them reveal to us who they are. And then we get to decide how we want to show up or what we do next. And so I feel like the let them part gets a lot of press, and it's, oh, let them. To me, when I read the book, the most important part and probably the hardest part was the second part, which is the let me. So it's all about allowing yourself to kind of let go or to detach from the things that are causing us so much stress. And when all of those emotions come up and we just get frustrated because the people around us are not behaving the way we expect them to or the way we want them to. And so it's about us letting go of that and letting others, take responsibility. And we get to protect our own energy. And so to me, when I first read the book and came to that kind of revelation, it was really freeing. It was like, wait a minute, I'm spinning, I'm getting frustrated. I work in a high school. I now have my fifth superintendent in 5 years, my fifth superintendent in 10 years, my fourth principal in 10 years. I'll be going on my fifth supervisor in 10 years. It's like never ending. And it's real easy to get kind of like bogged down, especially the educator world. We know different times of the school year. Like, I don't know where it is for you. This is our last week of classes. Next week, we have graduation and finals, and then we're done. I know some of you still have a few weeks to go, and it can feel really daunting. And when more gets piled on our plates, we get kind of like initiative overload. It can really get so frustrating. And I find myself in situations with colleagues, we just kind of get each other fired up. And all of that energy that we're using is not useful, and it's not going to change anything. And so this theory really resonated with me because it was like, oh, wait a minute, I don't have to spend my time being frustrated and angry. I can let them, and then I can decide how I want to be. It's also really hard. So I think, as we talk about it, because when I first read this book, I was beyond excited about it and just wanted to talk to everybody that I knew. And a lot of my friends were like, yeah, that sounds great. It also sounds so hard. And it is. It's not easy. And I think when Mel talks about it, she makes it sound like it's pretty easy, but it's hard. But when you start to chip away at those little pieces that you can let go, it starts to become easier as you practice.
And just, can I add to that, Lisa? So I find that like the let them part is freeing, but the let me really comes with a lot of responsibility. Jasmine and Ashlyn were saying like, that's the hard part. I've had the same department chair for 20 years, and he's been making me mad about the same things for 20 years. And by staying mad at him, I have not felt like, okay, now what do I do about it? Like, he's not a good leader, and he doesn't guide us, and he doesn't take responsibility. And when I read this book and I was like, okay, now it's time to stop complaining about the same things, but now I have to figure out what the let me part is. And in some ways, being angry at him has become so comfortable that this book really shook it up, because it was like, do you actually want to feel better about this situation, or do you just want to complain about it? So that let me part, it it's freeing, but it's also comes with a lot of responsibility that I've struggled with, because I got so comfortable being mad at him for the way he was. In this book is both freeing, but also holds you accountable in the let me. So that's been it's been really healthy for me, but also really challenging to step out of that mode.
And there are parts of the book, I can only imagine, now I'm going to have to listen to it, the audio version, because there are parts of the book where she really gives some tough love. And in a way that I think people who I know face to face maybe are thinking it in their heads, but wouldn't say it to me, or maybe they're not. But there's a lot of like, get over yourself. And those parts really resonated with me too. It was like, yeah, oh, she's right. So, okay. So we are going to do a little
And
activity.
we're already off our time. So
All right. Are
of
we
course.
over? We're under?
I think we're a little over in terms
All
of the
right. All
breakout
right.
room. Stuff might know better, but
Okay. So we are going to have 3 different groups, breakout groups, and we have 3 different scenarios here. So you get to choose, I think, Stephanie, we're going to give you a choice for which room you want to go in. And so these are scenarios that we're going to do together before we do some things individually. So the first one is that your district has announced a new initiative that everyone needs to get on board with. Staff are feeling overwhelmed, and a new initiative feels like just another thing they all have to do. It was determined with little to no educator input, and the timing is not good because there is already so much going on right now. That's breakout room 1. The next one, yeah, let's go to room 2. So the next one is that your team of colleagues has agreed on a particular plan for your next unit. You learn that 2 of your colleagues have decided to do their own thing and ignore the work that the team has done. This is causing inconsistency for students, and as they realize that some teachers are giving easier work, they're complaining and asking why. And then the third one is that you have a group of students who are struggling in your class and need intervention help. When you reach out to parents, they either don't respond or say that they don't see it as a problem. You have brought this to your administrator's attention, but they just keep telling you to communicate with the parents.
Steph, can
So
you show slide 3? The next one that we're on. Yeah.
So these are 3 scenarios that we are going to have you in breakout rooms, and you can discuss through the lens of the let them theory. So what are some things here that, are in your control, and what things could you let them? And then where does the let me come in?
I also don't think you get to choose breakout rooms because
That's what I was wondering.
yeah. So I'm just gonna throw everybody in a breakout room. I've got them ready. I think we have enough folks in each of them. So if you need anything, I'll stay in the main room for a little bit. But if you're watching the recording, just pause and think about one of these scenarios. Also in the chat, I put the slides. So if you need the slides, you can make a copy, take notes, whatever you need to do to add your thoughts. But we're just going to kind of let you guys, we're just going to assign you a breakout room. So breakout room 1, we'll do the first 1, 2, 3. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm going to add the slides one more time.
Perfect. All right, I'll wait just a few moments for everyone to click and make a copy of those slides. I'm going to go ahead and send everyone to those rooms. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome. Also in my group, we talked about the additional PDFs. And so some people that were listening to the audiobook were not like aware that there's additional PDFs for parenting and for leadership. So I'm going to send a follow-up email with those resources because I thought they were really, really beneficial. So I just wanted to add that before we talk about what each breakout room did. I'm going to give everyone like 60 seconds. I think my group picked a leader to share out. So you got 30 seconds. If you didn't, you can decide in the chat. But was it Dan or was it? No, it was not Dan. Okay.
Dan is like,
Dan sounds like he.
I'm gonna let them.
Yes, I think Dan teaches secondary, I believe, and so he had a little bit more comfort with letting the students fail if they needed to do that, if they didn't want to do their final project, things like that. Jasmine and I have we both have experience as instructional coaches or technical implementation coaches. And so we've experienced this where colleagues aren't going to do what they're supposed to be doing, whether it's tech implementation or their unit that has been given to them. And so we were just talking about how we have to let them do what they want to do or don't want to do, because we're not in the position as a principal to evaluate them. I made the point that there's the let them theory is really similar to and a nice connection to the 7 habits of highly effective people, the circle of influence and circle of concern, and that the more you focus on what you can do, then you can influence the people around you. And that includes influencing your colleagues and maybe supporting your colleagues if the couple of colleagues don't want to, they want to do their own thing. Perhaps it's because they don't understand the unit or the project. And maybe you could talk to them privately and say, do you need any support on how to do this? So that's kind of what we talked about. Does anyone in my group want to add anything to that? I don't know if I got everything, but.
You definitely got it all. We also talked about how hard it is to, as educators, we all got in this profession because we wanted to make a difference and change lives, and the paycheck was never, going to be enough. So it's hard to just say, let them, when our passion is in it. But sometimes we just have to do that and make the decision to just let me decide or let me do what I need to do to be okay with the decisions being made, because it's out of our control anyway.
Yeah. All right. Thank you guys for sharing. All right, group 2.
In mine, it would be, or what we talked about, at least for, as I mentioned, I come from a small South Texas school that we only have 2 teachers per grade for the subject. So I've been teaching for 18 years, but I've been having new teachers every couple of years. And so this year, it was a second year for an intern who is still going through his schooling and everything. And last year it was really tough in trying to get him, because I teach a STAR tested subject. I teach social studies. And so having to, this is how you need to teach it. Don't forget to introduce this and things like that. This year, he feels like he has more of control. He understands it better. He still has a lot of questions. But when we do our PLCs, my instructional coach has a reading background. My district person has a math and science background. I've been teaching for 18 years. So when they try to bring in things that don't necessarily go, or how the STAR tested, the TEAK is tested, it's a little bit hard. He would go way ahead of me. And I finally just had to say, okay, you do you. I'm going to do me and what has been working. I tried to go to the high school this year, but we had a new director, AD, athletic director come in. So all the coaches changed out. And that's usually what does social studies. So I decided to stay at my middle school, and I am now going to teach art next year because I decided they could teach it. I'm going to take less stress and let me teach art for a year and have a little bit easier of a time.
Awesome. Yeah.
And just to add to that, Ashley shared really beautifully that the idea of let them can go up or down. It can be, especially if you're a department chair or an assistant superintendent, that sometimes in both directions you're representing things that that aren't necessarily decisions you made, but you're the face of it. So how do you, I love, she talked about the circle of control versus the circle of influence versus neither. And sort of how do you let me to people above you and below you and still maintain integrity? I didn't say it as well as Ashley did, but
no, you did a
wish
great
that-
job, Lisa. You
Thank
did.
you.
The only thing that I would add from the leadership perspective, I work in central office as an administrator. So from the leadership perspective, right, there's a certain level of middle management where we just really don't have control over the things that we share. So it's fun being the subject of most people's scenarios. But this idea that 50% of the people are going to be upset with whatever decision I make 100% of the time. And so going into that, knowing that here's the decision that was made, how am I going to respond? But here's the group of people that I serve. This is how they're likely to respond. What am I going to then do to prepare them? How can I over communicate this? How can I share this? How can I, like, what are the things that I can do? And then the only other connection I would draw to is just one of the things that Mel did very well, especially in the audiobook, was this idea that, yes, you can say let them and then you can let me, but it doesn't take out the humanity of it. People are still going to have emotions. They're still going to respond. They're still going to be upset. And you have to be prepared to not let that suck you back into your old habits and your old patterns.
See, I told you, she says it so beautifully.
that was good because I feel like I haven't read the book, recently, and I have been going back to my old habits, and I'm like, I need to keep reading this. So I do have that. Let them, or you do you, and let me be me.
But I just love that piece of like, it still might hurt. And that doesn't mean you're not doing it right. To me, that was, when Ashley said that, just a helpful reminder of like, it's still sometimes going to be painful, but that's a part of being human.
Awesome. Okay. Our last group number 3.
Hi there. I'm going to try to represent, and my friends can jump in, please and thank you. So I think we came with a consensus that we teach from the heart. We teach the whole person, the whole child, and we are frontline workers, basically, where we see the students maybe more often than parents. And so when the students are struggling, we see the behavior, we see maybe the learning difficulties or deficiencies that maybe have never been recognized or addressed in the past. And so by going to admin, if they decide that the answer is just to continue talking to parents, this is where the compassion comes in, that we don't give up. We continue working with the parents, because sometimes parents also need support as well, because they might have their own languages difficulties or cultural difficulties, understanding the school system. And so as a result, we need to have a balance of letting go and letting me. So letting go would be respecting the administration's decision to continue working with the parents. But the letting me is the compassion part, where I will continue to reach out to maybe mental health workers or guidance counselors or other support systems within the school to help the child and to never give up. I hope that's okay.
Yes, awesome. Love it. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to go into what's driving you crazy. So you can either grab a piece of paper, you can grab a Google document, whatever you want to use. You can grab your iPad, whatever you need to just jot down what's driving you crazy. And throughout this time, you're going to get a 1-minute time to make just that list. Okay, maybe it's your principal, maybe it's your admin, maybe it's a student in your class, maybe it's a parent you're dealing with, maybe it's the weather. I don't know. Maybe it's the copier, right? The copier just keeps on jamming. So I just want you to think about for 1 minute and just jot anything that you can for that minute. It might get uncomfortable around like 10 seconds because you're like, what else is driving me crazy? I can't think right now. But I just want you to keep at it for that minute. And once you do that, we'll come back for the next piece of that task. So I'm going to set that timer for 1 minute. It can be anything, no judgment here. And 1 minute, what's driving you crazy? Okay, time's up. And I even went a few extra seconds because I was keep adding to my list. So now what I want you to do is look at that list and I want you to think about what is out of your control. Okay. What is not something that is in your control, and just kind of either color code it if you want to color code it. If you're like me, you might make it a certain color. If it is in your control, you might make it another color. But I want you to just kind of take a moment and really think about, okay, what is it that's in my control and what is it that's not? You're going to get another minute to color code. Well, no, I'm going to do, I think it's 30 seconds. I don't think we need a whole minute for that.
I'm doing circles and stars.
Okay, yes, circle, stars, whatever you want to do, that works. Instead of a minute, we're going to do 30 seconds. So here we go. Circles and stars, color coding, not 30 minutes. 30 seconds. There we go. Okay. All right, time is up. And so now you should have your list of what's in control, what's not in your control. For me, it was like 4 things that I can control and 2 things I for sure can't, but I keep trying to control them. And so now Lisa's going to talk about our next breakout activity when it comes to what's driving you crazy. So Lisa Allen.
Yeah, I did this activity in the PD and I found it to be really, really effective and kind of simplifying it. The group I was in called it consultation trios, and you're in breakout rooms of 3 and one person shares a problem for 2 minutes, cut off at 2 minutes. And that cutoff is hard because a lot of times you're sharing something that you have more to say on. But you really want to pick one problem and simplify it to what's the crux of it? What is really the heart of what's making you crazy, of what you can't control? And then the other 2 people in the next 2 minutes share what are some actionable steps. Sometimes someone who's not in it can provide such clear insight, whereas if you're in the thick of it, it can be harder to see. So I think, Stephanie, will people just keep their own time, right? Maybe we keep a time, like somebody in the group is a timekeeper, or, or you can rotate the timekeeper, but it's 2 minutes for the person sharing, 2 minutes of feedback from the other 2, and then you cut it off and move on to the others. And we know these are complicated things, but the whole idea is to simplify it, to kind of give you a path forward on how to maybe see it differently.
Yes. And I think hopefully someone didn't ghost you or they didn't go on mute, but the rooms are pretty even by 3. There's 2 rooms that have 4. So if there is someone that you are missing, just let me know and I'll just kind of be floating to support. But you'll have a total of 15 minutes. So you might want to set that timer for 15 minutes and then just kind of divide it up on how needs it. Oh, I saw somebody's mic's not working. That is okay. Just use the chat if you feel comfortable. All right, here.
We want to do stuff. Is it better timing wise to do one room of 2 versus 2 rooms of 4?
We could. Do you want me to do that?
Yeah, I just think timing wise, it's going to be hard to
Yep, we can do that.
condense it.
Perfect. So again, we'll set that timer for about 15 minutes. Is that right?
Yep.
And then who was it without a mic? I saw it, but I didn't see whose name it was.
Brianne.
Okay.
And then I think there was someone else whose mic was not working. We'll find out.
Brianne, I put her in a group of 4.
Yeah, and Brianne, I think yours will just go to the chat in your breakout room. Stephanie, is that accurate, please?
That works. Okay, here we go.
Oh, Elsie. It was Elsie.
Hello, how are you?
Stephanie, I was in a room by myself.
Okay, I'm gonna move you to a room right now. Let's see here. I'm just gonna do more people and it will just be okay. Okay, yeah. And again, if you're watching the recording, do this activity. Think about a top problem that you have, and then think about the actionable steps and thoughts. So for me, something that is driving me absolutely crazy, my top problem from my list is ISTE, right? Like I had ISTE all set up. I had my flight scheduled, I had my hotel room, and then I got a new job. And so when it comes to ISTE, all of my travel, all of my hotel stay was gone, right? And so it was something that was out of my control for a little bit until I got into my new company. And then today I just got a message that, hey, we're ready to book you. And I'm like, yeah, but it's been just kind of something that's been top of mind and just kind of driving me a little bit crazy. So my actionable steps and my thoughts about it is tomorrow I'm going to be able to hopefully get it booked and get that kind of crossed off my plate. But again, it was just, again, something that was like, oh, it's already done and now I have to redo it. So again, just kind of think about what is your top problem, what's your actionable steps, and how can you work through that problem? Welcome back, everyone. Hopefully you had a great discussion. It's okay, Ashley. And if you had a really great discussion, I encourage you guys to share each other's contact information. That
Mhm.
way you can follow up, maybe have a follow-up call. I know there's multiple times where I'll call Lisa's and I'm like, I just need to talk about the Let Them book. So again, if you really connected with somebody in your group or something, make sure you find them on social media. Connect with them is something that I would highly recommend. Okay, we're not going to share our what's driving us crazy because I know some of it might be really personal. But again, I kind of want you to just think about how that was kind of organized, and hopefully it was really helpful to get those actionable steps and thoughts from your partner. And maybe this is an activity that you can kind of steal to use with your own district as well.
And I think that whole idea of like, let me ask for help can be an important thing that comes out of it, because sometimes you're so close to a problem it's hard to see, but let me ask someone outside of it to get some help.
Awesome. And then the last thing, I have someone that's like, hey, can we get our LinkedIn emails somehow? Yeah, I'll add like a slide while we're doing this last activity. Thanks, Lisa, for getting that spreadsheet ready. And we can just add it on the last slide. Maybe, Lisa, where we can like attach it here maybe. But before we go, I just want us to reflect. You can pick one of these. So you can either pick west, north, east, south. Just pick one and kind of focus on. North is what do you need to know and understand? Maybe you're excited and you want to do the east. What's exciting you about this new learning? Maybe you want to focus on the south. What are your next steps that you're going to take to continue to build and grow your understanding of the Let Them theory? West, what maybe are you worried about? What's still maybe scaring you to let them or to let me? What is keeping you from actually doing that? So again, I want you to pick one, north, east, west, or south. And then in the chat, just go ahead and plop your answer into the chat. I'm going to give us about 90 seconds to reflect. And hopefully by then we'll have the spreadsheet ready. So 90 seconds. Think about your north, east, south, or west. You only need to pick one. $19 more seconds. It's southeast. I love that. Awesome. Time is up. So we have, I'm going to continue my focus to the responses and situations instead of other people's actions. I'm still worried, right? I still have this worry of being, how to keep this front and center of my work and life every single day. So I love that one. I enjoyed learning new ways to communicate and grow my relationships. What excites me is about new learning and the permission and framework to truly shed the light. So yes, awesome. Okay, Lisa just put the spreadsheet. So for you to click that spreadsheet, you'll type your name, add in your social media handles, type in your email address. Oh, I don't know why I got an agenda. And then type in your role. And if you're watching the recording, please feel free to do this. Also, feel free to reach out to anybody on this list. And then I know somebody was like, LinkedIn. If you have your LinkedIn, feel free to hyperlink that if it's easier for you or if it's different. You're making it pretty, Lisa. Awesome. Okay, so make sure you follow each other. Reach out if you just want to continue the discussion. I enjoyed my time today. I don't know how Lisa and Lisa felt, but I was proud of you guys. I was very proud.
It feels good. I feel like I need this in my life once a month. Like, right. I'm feeling it again the way we did the first time the three of us talked about it.
Yeah, me too. And then on this last page of the slide deck, if you click on here, it will take you to those resources that have the PDF. So if you're wanting to learn more about leading with the Let Them theory, this is a really great one. And then there's that parenting one. So this was really helpful for me as a parent. And then up here is that contact sheet. So if you're like, I lost the chat. No, you didn't. It's right here. Every resource is on this last slide. And again, we just want to say thank you. I'll add the recording into a follow-up email. So if you have any questions or need anything, please reach out to us. But I just want to say thank you so much for joining and sharing. This is a hard topic to sometimes share our thoughts and how we're feeling about things and letting things go and letting me take control of what I can. So thank you for sharing.
I echo that exactly. Thank you for coming and being vulnerable and making me feel less alone in some of my struggles in education, and for not only signing up, but showing up. Signing up is different than showing up on, on an evening in May. So thank you for your time.
Yeah, in a short period of time, we were able to create a real feeling of community. I feel like really connected to the folks that were in my breakout groups, and look forward to just continuing putting this in practice. We got this. We can do this, people.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording, but again,